YouTube. This is going to be a video response to Church of STFU. Love your handle, by the way. Really funny. Uh, I wanted to discuss the video response you made to Napalm. And I got a couple of things to cover, so I'm just going to try and run through it quickly. I wanted to use your example of the buildup of hatred up on the mountain and the starting of fireworks. Uh, I agree. While I agree that starting fireworks that might start an avalanche and kill people might not be a good idea, I'm not convinced that living the rest of my life in silence, in fear that any noise made would start the avalanche, is not an option either. So I think what I would do is look for a solution, and the solution in that case, in my mind, would be to prevent the snow from building up on the mountain. So if you prevent the snow from building up, you're not going to have an avalanche. And obviously, if you need to start a small one every now and then in order to prevent a big one, if you can control the small ones that you start instead of the big one that you don't control, then I guess you're much better off in handling the snow that you can't avoid anyways. So I hope I followed your analogy and that you followed me on that. The point I'm trying to make is that the solution, the stopping the buildup of the snow in this case, has to be changing the perception that a criticism is an attack. And while I agree with you that any gestures may be used as propaganda in Islamic countries for whatever extremist forces want to use it, whether it be for recruiting or... The fact of the matter is, if it's not that, it's going to be something else. You know? You have to at least assert the fact that you can criticize things in your society without exception. If you can criticize the Catholic religion for their sexual scandals over the years and their hypocritical stance on abortion and gay rights and human rights, you have to be able to equally turn around and protest against Muslims for their treatment of women, their treatment of gays, their treatment of human rights, and so on and so forth. And obviously, when you do that with other religions, you don't get the same response. When Sinead O'Connor, many years back, ripped a picture of the Pope on Saturday Night Live, she was making a statement. Obviously, there was a huge tally and people were pissed at her and thought it was irresponsible and that she was just upsetting people for the sake of upsetting people. But it did get people talking about what she wanted to talk. She wanted to talk about the things she disagreed with the church. So I think that if you consider that there are other reasons why one would want to burn a book other than to just piss people off for the fun of pissing people off. And I'm not saying that's the case with Terry Jones. I'm not saying he's not some fucking opportunistic douchebag. That he is. I'm just saying that for some people, burning a book is as much as a gesture of protest as for others to burn a flag. And the reasons why some people burn a flag vary from one another. Some do it for pure hatred, and some do it to demonstrate the power of free speech and the reality of freedom. That freedom comes with voices that you may not want to hear, but it's part of life. With freedom of speech comes the downside that everybody has freedom of speech. Even idiots have freedom of speech. And you have to accept that. You have to deal with that. And dealing with that does not mean humoring their capricious demands. And I hope you see the irony in not wanting to give in to Terry Jones's capricious demands of, I want to burn a Quran because it's my right, and at the same time argue for, well, you shouldn't do that if it's going to piss off the Muslims, because basically you're saying, well, we're going to listen to the Muslims when they say don't burn our book or else we'll fuck you up, because that's our belief. While on the other hand, the other one's going, well, I can burn a book because it's my right. They're two very dumb positions. They're two very idiotic stances to start with. I think that the good thing about it is that it has to create, if anything has to come out of it, is that it has to create awareness. It has to somehow raise a question. And I can't believe that even if it were used as a tool for propaganda, that amongst the people the propaganda is being served to, no one's gonna raise the question, well, why the fuck are they burning the Quran anyways? Maybe that's wishful thinking on my part. I'll grant you that. The second aspect of it is that it has to bring out the moderate voice. You made a good point that, moderates seem to be doing very well ignoring this fucktard and Pastor Terry Jones, that's all fine. But if you're going to use the argument that by doing things like that, we're going to piss off the moderates and turn them into extremists, then I guess they're not really moderates in the beginning to start with. If you're really a moderate, in my opinion, in that case, you're thinking, I don't give a fuck what you do. This is my faith. This is what I want to believe in. But this is my faith, I'm a moderate, unless you piss me off and I'll be an extremist, that's not being a moderate. So, anyways, I just wanted to raise those points because I really enjoyed your observation, but I wanted to know how you felt and what you thought about those few points that I raised. So hopefully I'll hear from you and we can have a discussion on that. So this is Metal Skin Studios saying take her easy. I'll see you later.